What's up, everybody? Are we live or are we live? Coolios. So, I'm back again on this live session. I have been trying to do this for a while now, and finally, I'm able to. So, awesome. Now, in the last session, I was inking my comic, and in this particular live session I'll be using my coloring skills to color the next page of my comic that I'm drawing currently, which is African Caravan. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing today, and I'm waiting for a few more people to join before I begin my session. Hopefully this is going to be slightly better than yesterday, maybe, because I've managed to fix some of the sound related issues and some of my um, issues relating to visuals. So I hope it'll be slightly better this time. And yeah, hoping to have a productive session and I can chat with anybody and everybody while drawing. So please feel free to comment and feel free to check it out or share it with people, and you can like this stream and also subscribe to this new channel that I'm making. So yeah, that's the deal for today. And if you have any suggestions for the kind of topics that you want to discuss or you want to see me make, I'm open to that. So please comment about it and let me know so that I can improve my work and yeah, have fun at the same time. So that's the plan. And yeah, so yeah, I think I'll start working on my page now. And today I'm working on this particular page, which is actually the next page from my comic, continuing from where I was drawing yesterday. So that's it's actually a scene from our stay in Uganda, and this is a page from my comic. And so yeah, that's what it is. And before let's start coloring. So this is my process. I also want to share some of my process and how it works. So this is the panel which I've already inked. Uh, and this talks about the history of that particular area and what it entails and how it went through the narration of our host in that particular country. So this is in Kesese, which is actually a town in western Uganda, and it is entirely covered with hills around surrounding it. So it's like a valley. And over here we were living with this wonderful guy, uh, and he was telling us all about the history of that particular place and all about how he copes up with the local environment and the local stories and what it means to be like being a Ugandan. And this is our host Afan, telling us about the local stories of that area, about what that particular place is. So it's a place which was primarily uh, came under the Kasese kingdom of Renzori, and after the independence of Uganda, there was this huge, you know, like some sort of like local war that was going on between the king and the president, of Uganda. So this is what he's trying to tell us about. He's trying to explain us from this particular incident. This is what this particular page is trying to talk about. And yeah, so I'll start coloring this page now. What I usually do when we color these pages is I will try and take some references from the images that I used and some of the older panels from the comic just to create some consistency in the coloring style. So this is what this particular page is going to be about. I'll be Let me start. Yeah, so this comic uh, is about our travels in Africa. So you'll see a lot of these images that I use for references and sketches to draw the scenes. Let me color, let me rename this as color. It's very important to name your layers in Photoshop, guys, because this comic goes through a lot of editing. So it's always good to know the stages of like each and every process, and to understand and to remember also in future how to edit it, specifically when we are uh, working on such a long project. Hi Manini, uh, how so you have a question, how do you make people in your comic look consistent? Isn't that hard to do? Yeah, it is, and I think it comes with some practice. And also, initially, when I started working on this comic, I did feel it's slightly hard to keep that consistency. But I think with time and with practice, that comes automatically. But what used to happen to me initially, I think, is I would try to copy the previous page character drawing on the following page so that it remains consistent, and that's how I would do it. And then eventually you understand how each character's face looks, how the hairs are, how the dress is, and that is basically how I usually keep it consistent. Uh, Overall, for drawing, uh, hi, Philosopher's Time. Welcome to this stream. We are making comics today, coloring comic. Yes, so yeah, I hope I've answered your question. But yeah, it takes a lot of practice as an artist, and I'm only like learning. There's a lot of these initial pages you'll see in the comic where you'll feel uh, it's little off, or it is, little odd to see characters in those positions or those particular facial structures and all. But yeah, so that is one thing that is there for sure. In this particular comic, since this comic is based on real people, there aren't any, like fictional references that I can add, like, how in a lot of these comics which are about fantasy or which are about, uh, where you have like those sci-fi or those kind of stories where you have the liberty of adding new elements onto your characters. In this particular comic, since it is based on real people, it gets slightly difficult to uh, add extra elements on the characters. And often you would feel, and people have told this to me for this particular comic, that it does feel that some of the characters look similar to each other because in the end they are cartoon characters. I mean, as drawn like cartoon characters. But yeah, like I would like one thing which I do usually in this comic is uh, that I try to keep the some sort of consistency in the color of the clothes, consistency in the hairstyle of the characters, And there are certain traits, like some people wear like a necklace, or somebody likes wearing a particular jacket and stuff like that. So I keep that as my consistent element in my comic. So that's one thing which I try doing. So yeah, that's the game for me at least. So yeah, that's it. Uh, High Philosopher's Time. Meghna told you about the stream. Awesome. Yes, Meghna works with me on this comic, and she has colored many chapters uh, while working on this particular comic. So yeah, awesome. Glad to have you here. And Sukant is saying, uh, this is really live. Where is the teleprompter? Okay, you came in for high level Man Ki Baat. I think there's going to be only comics ki baat in this stream. So yeah, and cool. So awesome. Jokes aside, great comic. Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad you are liking the comic. Have you read it though? Like, have you read all the chapters that I've been releasing? Oh, awesome, cool. So yeah. Um, Please feel free to ask any questions that you might have about the comic, or about the process, or about the journey, or about any stories from or experiences from Africa. So yeah, and maybe you guys can also tell me about what do you feel uh, about comics in general, or about stories, or about travel and these kind of things. So yeah. Oh, okay. I thought I'll color this carpet green, but then I realized I think it was not green but red in color. I usually follow some sort of reference images that I take, usually in from the journey, but I think this time I'll just draw from my memory. And also because I want to add this color red, because we are talking about violence in this particular panel, and I wanted to overemphasize and stress on it a little bit using colors as well. So let's see how that turns out to be. I hope you guys can hear me clearly. Yeah, so that's these are my characters. I'll also try to copy the skin tones and follow up with those things, because in our team there were people from different nationalities and different parts of the world, and when we were traveling together in Africa, so I am trying to depict that in the comic as well, and also the interpersonal relationships that people have during the journey. So that is something that is, yeah, something that I'm trying to show here. Okay. Hi Shivi. Yeah, I can show the reference image. Okay, so let me actually open that image then. Um, I took a lot of photos in Africa. Um, yeah, so and not always I'll have that particular reference. So uh, for this particular panel, I'm using multiple images. So this is the actual scene from the house. I hope you guys can see this. And this is where we were staying. This is the house. And I was drawing the scene yesterday, like in the panel earlier. So yeah, I constructed the scene using this image of Afan, and other scenes of our team sitting in the room, like this, and how the scene, like the room was, and the carpet and all. And this is how we used to eat in Uganda at his house. He was very kind enough to let us stay in that place in his house, and we used to have a lot of these chapati and um, the sauce, and yeah, whatever we could find, a lot of veggies and stuff. So yeah. So Sukant, planning to integrate music and art? Yes, I have been thinking about it. However, I'm not sure about how to go about it. We made a lot of this, a lot of the sounds, a lot of the music in the journey, and I would like to use it in the comic and also um, integrate it in some way. However, I've not been able to find the perfect way to do it. It's available to listen on SoundCloud, and you can check it out. I keep forgetting adding the link of that particular music in the stream, so I'll do that once this video is up. Uh, and the idea here is also to hopefully produce and create and compile some of those footage, some of the footage from the journey, some of those recordings that we made, so that we can actually see how the characters looked, how, like, what exactly, like, of course, the comic talks about it, but it, we also do have a lot of this interesting visual stuff that is there from the story, from the journey, from our travel. So that maybe can have that music that we made, and it will also show the work in progress and behind the scenes of the how it was actually created. The comic primarily deals with the relationship of the people and the experiential part of it. So yeah, that's one thing which uh, is, I think, something that we all can learn from. Hi Meghna, you're asking if I got any reviews on the comics from the people we met during the journey. Yeah, actually, some of the people who we met did did you know tell us about how they felt and what their uh, experience was after reading the comic, because they were part of it. Some of them really loved it. I also got some constructive feedback from some of the collaborators, and I used that to improve my comic. So I did that, and yeah, I did get some reviews, and it was a little scary also because I am not that kind of a guy who, uh, you know, makes this kind of content, this kind of comics that often. So that is something that I had to learn accepting, like that kind of feedback and what I can learn from them. That's me, guys. Sitting and watching and listening and asking questions. There was so much to learn and absorb over there, and every day was like a like this crazy roller coaster ride where we wouldn't know what new challenge we might have in the journey. So that was very, it was very difficult, but it was also at the same time very like a unique experience that I think happens very rarely in life. And the reason why I'm making this comic is to also share that experience with you guys and with everybody and anybody who wants to read it and know more about Africa in general or our experiences, and also understand a bit more about the world that we're living in. We all need that sort of escape and that sort of knowledge of the world. And yeah, but what's the best way to do it is to travel. if you can, as much as you can, and meet as many people, learn as much as possible. Yeah. Hi, Priyanshu. Yes, this is the music that we meet in Africa. One second, let me actually share it right now. I'll share it in the comments here. Hi, Philosopher's Time. Yeah, we were drawing backgrounds and perspectives yesterday. So, yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll be inking the next. Uh, I'll be drawing the next page of the comic. So over there, maybe you can join in tomorrow at the same time, and I'll be drawing the page. So there, uh, those that page particularly will have some of those elements. So you can join in, and then maybe we can discuss about perspectives and more drawing related stuff. It's all right. It's okay. I I got what you wanted to say. So this music, Priyanshu, we created in Africa, um, and these like all of these music was originally created by musicians that we collaborated with and worked with on in these countries. So yeah, and we did manage to record some of that in a proper recording studio, and some of it is just recording from our live sessions that we did in theaters and performing spaces in Africa. So it's a mix of both, and so yeah, that's how it is. And yeah, maybe I'll color these background elements later. So some random coloring. Let's do the characters first. Yeah, it does have that feel good vibe. We used to play the songs that we created also while driving on the car in the cars, and yeah, pretty cool. And I'm very glad to know these musicians also personally because I mean, yeah, they're one of those fantastic people to work with and super creative, and it was really crazy. And yeah, I think I feel lucky to be part of such an amazing story, amazing journey, and to have collaborated with such people. So it's very nice. Yeah, very positive feeling. Now that I look back on those days, of course we were struggling with a lot of these issues and a lot of these things that we were not doing how we would have thought or how we would have liked them to go. But overall, it was something that was truly unique. So yeah, it does have that feel good vibe. Maybe I should try and get those guys, some of these musicians, to like have a chat with me, and maybe can turn that into a video, or maybe talk about those stories together. So this are the panels of the comic view. This is one of the pages which is already released, the one that I'm showing right now. And yeah, it's vertical scroll designed for mobile viewing, as you can see. One of the most beautiful panels colored by Mitali. So this particular panel, this page that I'm showing you guys right now is not colored by me. It was colored by Mitali, who is also an artist and comic book maker. Um, so yeah, it's a group effort, guys. It's a group effort. By the way, the link to the comic is in the description of this video. A friendly reminder. So please do read and let me know your thoughts on it if you haven't yet. Please check it out. It's it's a unique story, and the thing is that in India, especially in the comic scene, you often find a lot of mythological or a lot of superhero comics, and very few comics are made which talk about travel, talk about these places, talk about politics from a very uh, from a very ground approach, but also engaging and interesting. Uh, so yeah, So you can surely check this comic out if you are interested in those kind of offbeat stories which you would not find in mainstream comics. So if you are one of those people, this is for you. It's been almost 51 minutes now since I started the stream. Cool. You guys have any questions? Or want to chat about something? Or want to listen to my voice in general? Let me know. This singer is Echeng, and she joined our caravan in Kenya. So you'll see her in the next chapter after this one that I'm drawing. This is my favorite song from all of our songs in the journey. Uh, Meghna, hi. I did not participate in any of the like music collaborations because I don't know how to play shit. I have no sense of music. I am only a listener. So I did not participate in any of the music related collaborations except carrying musicians' instruments from one room to the other or helping them out in setting up and stuff like that. So that was my only contribution in these songs. However, I did participate when we were in Zambia. We actually did this performance art where we actually performed with some of the local performers where I actually, uh, you know, did some sort of, I don't know, you can say like theatrical performance in a way, which involved some dance and performance and painting on stage and stuff like that. So that is the only thing I did when I was in the journey. So that was it, and that was the only time where had I did something which was different from what I used to do. And also it will come in the next chapter, which will be released next, yeah, this month, where I learn how to make wooden sculptures. So yeah, so yeah. What all other skills did I pick during the journey? I did pick, I think, of course, we were not staying in a place for a very long time, so we uh, did not have the time to learn something totally from scratch. But I did learn a few bits about local African art here and there. I also learned a bit about sculpting. I also learned a bit about performance and stuff like that. One major thing which I learned or improved upon, you can say, during the journey is my driving. So before I went, and this is like a crazy thing because who goes on a road trip without knowing how to drive, right? So I went on to this road trip without actually knowing how to how to drive, sorry, and that is when driving on the African highways is when I actually learned how to properly drive. Uh, yeah, I have always been a bike kind of a person, so I own a bike, but I never had a car. So, and although I did have many opportunities to learn how to drive, somehow I was reluctant. But this journey, because there were so many days and there was a lot of these free time we had, I could practice on some empty roads and I brushed up my skills and I improved upon it. And I actually drove in some of the countries where we went in, yeah, later during the journey. See you, philosopher's time. Thank you for your time. we did manage to finish few panels today. Oh shit. Yeah, cool. Time to color some dust and some smoke and some fire. I usually color this comic very flat. That's somehow that's my style. I like this sort of method of coloring. Also because it's such a long comic, it's also simple to execute. Although we do try to add some textures here and there in some panels. Hmm. Yeah, Shivi, hi. This is actually a song by Malfunction, and he's a cool musician and a very fun guy. So yeah, this is his track, and he was very kind enough to let me use the track in my Voices Beyond Borders podcast also. Cool. So I think we have managed to do some decent amount of work today. Although I thought that I'll finish this page in this time, and I will uh, try and finish this, also do the panel design and everything. But it seems that it will take some slightly more time for me to finish this page. Hopefully, I'll continue this page uh, in tomorrow's stream as well. Uh, so yeah, that's the plan, to keep drawing and keep finishing new pages and new stories from Africa, and keep talking about it and keep drawing it till this comic is complete. So yeah, that's all for today, guys, and I am glad that you could join, and I'm glad to have you guys on the stream. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also hit that icon, that bell icon, so that you get notification when I schedule another live stream. So yeah, and do check out the comics. It's linked in the description, so you can go there and read the latest chapters on my website, choorma.com. So yeah, that's all for today. Goodbye.